Don Juan. No castle, no cloister, no pilgrim's way was safe from that singular knight they called Don Juan. Not that he was the most valiant in battle nor the most generous of lords. His glory came neither from fields of war nor from crusades, but from his countless conquests. Widowed ladies, barons' daughters, novices half promised to the cloister, even merchants' wives met beneath the arcades of a town. No heart escaped his boldness. His dark beauty, his ready speech, and his art of feigning passion made him triumph more surely than a well-sharpened sword. At his side, the unfortunate Sganarelle, a squire more timorous than his master, carried weapons and ceremonial cloaks, not without lamenting his service to a lord whose soul seemed devoted to scandal. For Don Juan feared neither the authority of men nor the threat of the church. The sacraments seemed to him vain ceremonies, the saints mere carved images, and the monks' sermons empty prattle. He mocked them openly, and those who heard him trembled, not with admiration but with dread. Now, one day as he rode near the walls of a great episcopal city, he met the daughter of a knight recently fallen in combat. The young woman, dressed in mourning, was praying in the new cathedral where the image of the deceased had just been carved upon his tomb. Her proud beauty, enhanced by black veils, struck Don Juan even more than the fragility of her afflicted soul. He approached, spoke of consolation, made shine the ardor of a feigned passion, and through his artifices managed to shake a loyalty that had been firm. The rumor of this conquest soon spread. They blamed the temerity of a man who had not respected the mourning of a noble daughter. Some even said he had sullied the memory of the dead man by seducing the one he had left under his protection. These words excited Don Juan's pleasure, for nothing inflamed him more than to outrage propriety. One evening, entering alone into the cathedral still dark with its new vaults, he contemplated the knight's tomb. The stone figure, lying with hands joined upon its chest, seemed to fix eternity. Don Juan, with a contained laugh, bowed ironically. "Lord of Marble," he said, "you may perhaps resent me for having consoled too soon the lady you left in tears, but if your heart of stone is more faithful than that of the living, I invite you to join me tomorrow for a vigil of arms. You will come, if heaven lends you movement." Having spoken these words, he withdrew, amused by his own insolence. The next day, Sganarelle, who had followed him into the nave, begged his master to expiate his audacity through prayers. "My lord," he said, "one does not mock the dead. The recumbent figures hear more than one believes, and the beyond is not mute." Don Juan pushed him away laughing. "You are the slave of superstitions, good Sganarelle. The dead sleep, and the saints of stone never descend from their niche." However, when night fell, he went again to the cathedral. Vigils were being celebrated for the approaching feast, and the edifice shone with 1,000 candles. Don Juan, instead of joining the prayers, sat near the tomb, like a knight ready to keep vigil over his arms. Midnight struck. The songs had ceased, the monks withdrawn. Only the candles remained and the moving shadows on the pillars. Sganarelle, crouching in the shadow, dared not breathe. Then an imperceptible sound was heard, the heavy rustling of stone being displaced. The recumbent figure, without breaking the hieratic pose of its joined hands, slowly rose, and the statue descended from the sarcophagus. Its steps awakened no echo. It advanced as if carried by an invisible breath. Don Juan was at first dumbfounded, but his pride soon regained the upper hand, and he made a welcoming gesture. "Lord of Stone, here you are then. Take your place beside me. We shall keep vigil together, you by duty, I by defiance." The statue sat without sound, fixing its hollow eyes upon the insolent living man. No word came from that marble mouth, and this silence weighed more than thunder. Don Juan, bravado-filled, pretended to converse. But as the hours passed, the silence became unbearable, as if the visible world were withdrawing. When dawn pierced through the still, unfinished stained-glass windows, the statue rose and returned to its tomb. Don Juan, livid, swore he had held his wager and that nothing frightened him. Yet his hands trembled when he returned his sword to its scabbard. In the following days, his audacity redoubled, as if he had wanted to conquer through excess the secret fear that had shaken him. He multiplied deceitful oaths, seduced again, mocked the sacraments and outraged the processions. To those who exhorted him to repent, he opposed laughter. But one night, as he feasted in the great hall of a neighboring castle, the door opened by itself. No one seemed to have pushed it. In the doorway appeared the statue of the knight, as it had emerged from the tomb. It emitted neither noise nor clamor, but the guests rose terrified and fled. Don Juan alone remained, wanting to appear master of himself. "Ah, here you are again, taciturn spectre," he said. "Will you come to share my table as you shared my vigil?" The statue inclined its head, a gesture of terrible majesty. Don Juan thought he read in it an invitation more than an assent. Without retreating, he advanced, as if to unite his fate with that of this mute companion. Then an icy breath crossed the hall, the torches were extinguished, and the stone extended its hand to the living man. Don Juan, by defiance, placed his in that marble contact. But immediately an invisible fire seized his body. He cried without word, as if suffocated, and disappeared into the darkness, dragged out of the world of the living. Sganarelle, remaining alone, threw himself on his knees, imploring divine mercy. But no echo answered, save the wind among the vaults. They say that Don Juan perished damned, and that his soul never found burial. Only his memory survived, the remembrance of a knight whose pride dared to defy even the dead. And they added in sermons that no one mocks the beyond with impunity, for the Middle Ages, more than any other time, lived in the shadow of heaven and the abyss.